Welcome to Over the Back Fence. I'm Di Edwards.
I'm Nicola Dale, and we're buddies of nearly 4 decades. And yes, we actually do happen to share a back fence.
We do. We love parties, people, inspirational stories, and honestly, making the most out of life.
So join us as we open our hearts, share our stories, and hear from some of the most inspirational people in the world, and have a laugh along the way.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Hey, Dodie, you know, at the back fence, I think I can hear some dogs barking.
As long as we're not peeing up against it.
I don't know.
Like, seriously.
I know, I think it's just someone
and
really...
you and I love dogs.
Exactly, we love dogs.
Oh, ever since I've known you. You've always had dogs.
I've had dogs.
I've
You've
always had
dogs.
dogs. And we've always walked with the dogs.
We have walked with
dogs.
We
And that's
love that.
very much a part of entwined in our relationship is dog walking.
I know.
And never shutting up.
And never shutting up. And dogs at different stages. Like I've now got Fred the cobber dog.
You do.
Who's 2, and I'm just
And
obsessed
huge.
and huge. He's like a pony.
He's a pony.
And we're just completely mad
Put a
and
saddle on
crazy
him.
over him.
Yeah.
And you've lost your dog. Now, how old was Paloma?
19.
19.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah. So,
Yeah, there's this Lisa who we're about to interview
yeah.
who's
So I was just
cutting
gonna
in.
say, I
It's
think
really
she-
You can't help
good,
myself
good,
when you say you've got
good
a
innings.
19-year-old
But I
dog.
think smaller dogs live longer too. So
I know, that's what I was saying with Fred. Just shrink then, because I want you to live forever.
look, you never get over the loss of. I'm still like, I think, and what I love is also having children. The memory will surface, or a photo will surface, and the memory is never lost.
With the
And
dog.
you just say, do you remember when the dog did such and such? And because the dog, the one that died at 19, Paloma was peeing everywhere and doing everything everywhere, but I wouldn't put her down because of whatever reason. And they all keep saying, we keep seeing her in every room, like it's her energy.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Well, they're so
yeah,
special. And I tell
yeah.
you what, we've got someone very special
We
today.
do.
With, I think, a dog that joined us at our back fence here. But we're delighted to have the dynamic and fabulous celebrity vet, Dr. Lisa Chimes. Lisa is a practising Australian vet who starred in the popular TV shows Bondi Vet and Dr. Lisa to the Rescue. Lisa is a regular on morning TV, newspaper, magazines, digital, and many radio appearances, and now our potty, which we're thrilled. Lisa is an author of 2 children's books, My First Puppy and My First Kitten, how gorgeous, and a proud supporter of a variety of pet rescue services. Lisa is a successful businesswoman and founder of Dog by Dr. Lisa, and Fred the Copper Dog and I are just obsessed with those wives.
Yeah, they're great.
And Dog Plus, a 24/7 telehealth vet clinic. Lisa is a wife, mother of 4 humans, 2 dogs and a pussy cat. So welcome, Lisa. We are just so thrilled
big
to have
call.
you.
That's
at
a
our back
huge
fence.
Thank call.
you.
I should have added Beauty Queen, because look at her.
No, she walked in
really.
and I went, my God, you look 12. You look so young. And actually, Lisa, share that story about when you first started.
No, it's crazy. You know,
cute.
you go out into a consultation as a new graduate, and I was, 23 when I graduated, and yeah, maybe I look younger than some other people that are vets, and I'm short as well. So I'd walk in there, and the clients would say, "Hey, darling, can you just grab the vet?" I am the vet. And like the look of a horror on their face, and I'm about to tell them that their animal's got something seriously wrong with them, and they have zero trust in me. But you know, I don't get those comments anymore, so that's what makes me think, well, I don't look like a child any
Well,
longer.
it's funny, Lisa, when you walked in and I commented on how young you look, and you know what her response was? It was like, wow, she's got 4 kids, and you know they can keep you young. I on that note, like working the way you do, and of course the listeners have just heard that intro. My God, what a career to date! 4 kids, many animals. It's the classic question: what's the secret here? How do you do it?
I think insanity. I'm just one of those people that, like, if things are not busy and not crazy, I'm just looking for something else to do. I don't know. I bring this upon myself. I've always been that kind of person, juggling many balls in the air, wearing many hats, you know, helping family members or friends or animals or cousins of friends, family members, dogs, you know, like even if I don't know them, I'm getting phone calls
You're
to try
my
and help.
friend's cousins, auntie.
Exactly.
My dog needs help.
One of those. But yeah, no, I'm just a wearer of many hats.
What do you do for you though? I
go to the gym. That's my thing, which
I
is
love to
kind
hear
of
that.
like I don't have much of a social life. I like to chill in the evenings. I like to just kind of lay low. But at the end of each work day, I go to gym.
So that's your
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
for you.
thinking
Yeah.
massage, meditation. No, she goes to and what do you
No,
do
you
at the
know
gym?
why?
Is it
Because,
aerobic?
no, it's like crazy gym stuff. But
Yeah.
I like to jump on boxes and swing from
As you do.
mad
As you
things.
do.
But, you know,
Wow.
because I was never athletic as a kid because I was always just this tiny, small-framed person. So I kind of just never really needed to exercise for kind of weight loss or anything like that. So I just kind of did nothing. I was quite lazy. And then only in my late 20s I found the joy of exercise and HIIT training and that sort of thing. So it's my kind of energy pick me up at the end of a work day. I go to there and then I've got to put 4 kids to bed after the gym session. But it just gives me that
I'm
boost.
exhausted.
Yeah, wow. And wow.
Exhausting. You're incredible.
No, you really are. Because, I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, to become a vet, I think it's even higher marks than being a doctor
absolutely.
or anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
it must have been, was there a lot of study involved? And was it something you've always wanted to do, was to become a vet?
Yeah, I think, look, when I was a kid, really young, 4, 5, I used to want to become a vet because I loved animals. I was always rescuing pigeons and kind of, you know, brushing the dogs and dressing them up as dolls and, you know, crazy things with whatever animal I could find. And then throughout school, I found out the reality of being a vet. You know, it involves euthanasia and that sort of thing. And then a few of my family members thought, oh, well, you know, you cry in The Lion King. I don't think you're going to be able to deal with death with animals. And I was like, no, yeah, you're right. No way. I just want to deal with happy animals. So no, I'm not going to become a vet. And then the whole way through school, I was either going to focus on becoming a human doctor or an architect. I was actually enrolled in
Human doctor, that's it.
That's what we vets call them,
Yes.
human
Yes,
doctors.
I love
We're animal
that.
doctors. But I was actually enrolled in architecture, and until like a month before the term started for university, the semester, and I got my marks back for the HSC, and I did much better than I thought I did, and I was just looking through the list of things that I could do, and I saw veterinary science at the bottom, and I thought, oh my God, I love science. Like I did all the sciences at school, and then I did visual arts, and I thought, wow, I love medicine because my grandfather was a GP and we were really close, and I'm crazy for animals, and wow, this is like everything that I ever
stars
wanted to do.
aligned.
It's like that
Bingo.
childhood dream kind of just like came back into my mind, and
How
yeah,
beautiful.
chose that career at the last minute, and it was the best
Can
thing I
often
ever
do
did.
that.
Yes.
Interesting.
I do not have one moment's regret. I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's just a
Well,
wonderful profession.
lucky
I love
animals,
hearing that.
lucky humans. And I suppose
Yeah.
lucky you finding your
It's your
passion. You
passion.
probably would have enjoyed whatever you did with your sort of like outlook on life. But it's such an important thing. And animals, they're so special to us, aren't they?
They are. They actually.
heal
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Well, bringing into that, like mental health. With respect to animals, what's your take on that? Like how
it's a huge part of
how
it.
we can all help to heal each other,
I think just having that companionship, you know, it's
particularly through COVID too. I
yeah,
imagine.
for any times when even when I'm feeling a little bit down or upset about anything, and I sit on the couch with one of my pets, and you just physically pat them.
Yeah.
It lowers your blood pressure, it calms you. There's studies on that. And the companionship for people who, say, live alone and they don't have a big, busy family like I do, having that support through an animal, no matter what kind of animal, it just kind of gives you a purpose. And it's that unconditional relationship that you don't really have with people. With people, it's always a two-way street. But with the animals, they kind of give a lot more to us than they demand from us.
It's so beautiful, isn't it?
It's incredible.
I think that it's funny with
All
our
they do is
saying
love.
with our cobber dog, no one gives us a greeting like he does because he's a big goofball and comes running
we're
along
talking
like
pony,
that.
well, you'd know.
Like so it's a pony, and he'll grab something sort of as a present for you. And it's just quite funny. There's not one person, whether it's your partner or kids or friends or whatever, that will give you a greeting like that.
No.
And it's just joyous.
It is. It is.
Those joy. It's just
It is.
wonderful.
No matter
many
if you've gone for 5 minutes or 2 weeks, you'll get that
Oh, the
same
same
greeting.
greeting.
But
Yeah.
with no, there's none of that. Yes, we feel guilty, but it's not that they're making us feel guilty like with the same intent that a person would. It's that uncomplicated love that they give us.
And like in aged care homes, I remember always when I'd be there with mum, a dog would come in, and you just see, and particularly even patients that were dementia patients, the demeanour changing when they saw the animal walk towards them. They're doing programs in jails with animals, and hospitals too.
Hospitals.
I used to take my late Nelson, who was wonderful and really calm energy, and we used to go visit the kids in the children's hospital, and it just lights up their day when that dog arrives and sits next to their bed. And it's the same like in schools. Now they've got programs in schools where kids can read to dogs as part of like a learning program, because it takes away that anxiety, that they're not having to kind of read to the teacher. They're reading to the dog, who just kind of sits there calmly, and they're seeing amazing results with that.
It's wonderful.
Wow, that's incredible.
You know me, I'm one to always turn the tail on an interview. But what about the dog attacks of late? There is, it seems to be almost bi-weekly. I'm hearing, I know it's an extreme question, but what's behind that, would you say? Would you say breed? Would you say the breeding?
I would never say it's the breed, because any breed can be brought up in a way that they can get along with children and they can be friendly and well socialized. It's the socialization and the upbringing rather than the breed per se. So you could have, a dog that you would kind of classify as an aggressive breed, but that dog, if it's brought up in the right home, would be the most wonderful companion to that family. So and as a profession of vets and the animal behaviourists out there, none of us are going to judge the breeds in this situation. It's how they were raised. And maybe certain people get certain breeds because it's a status thing, and they think that I can make this dog, because it looks tough, I can make it act tough. And I think that's when there's a lot of issues arising. And I think within the situations where there are kids involved, it's either the child potentially stepping over the mark with the dog, or the person who's taking care of the dog not realizing that dog is not comfortable around children and not having the appropriate measures in place. If you've got a dog that's not comfortable around children and there's a child in your house, you need to be very vigilant about what you're doing, whether the dog's wearing a basket muzzle, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's going to save your dog from being put in a situation where it's going to attack someone and save the child from being injured, then it's an appropriate thing to do, as long as you've socialized the dog to accept that muzzle. It's not a punishment. It's just a positive thing. I saw a dog in the park the other day wearing a muzzle, and I spoke to the owner about it, and I said, you are so responsible. And the dog was so friendly, and my kids patted the dog, and I said to him, why is your dog wearing a muzzle? And he said, well, because there have been situations where he's growled at other dogs, and I don't want him to be the one to attack the other dog. So I want to be responsible, and he's wearing a muzzle just
That's
protect
really
everyone
tip,
around
isn't
it.
it?
And
I admire
it was
that
amazing.
owner.
Yes,
Very much so.
yeah.
But a lot of the issue that we see with kids and dogs, and I've got 4 kids, so I'm definitely on both sides here as a vet and as a parent too, is kids not understanding body language of dogs and parents not understanding body language of dogs. And one of my philosophies in how I teach people about their animals is to read that dog's body language before that situation happens, because more likely than not, the dog has displayed many cues that it's not comfortable in that situation.
What would be some
so
cues?
Like a simple one, like if a dog licks its lips, like what would you say that's means?
Dry lips.
No,
Chapstick.
It means they're anxious. It means they're uncomfortable.
Yes.
See, I didn't know that.
So people don't know
thirsty.
that. Yeah. Right? So you see a dog and like
Really?
you might be patting it and it starts licking their lips. That's like the dog saying, well, actually, I'm not really comfortable in this situation. Can you stop?
Wow.
And that's a really early, like gentle warning sign from a dog. So if people don't know that, they're not going to pick up on that. And then as that escalates, the dog might sort of look away and like avert its eyes, or it may shake off. Like a shake off is actually considered like, just get me out of here, I've had enough. Not necessarily like I've got something on my body. It's like I just I'm really uncomfortable in this situation. They might put their ears flat. They can kind of do what we call a whale eye, where they're kind of like the eyes like dart to the side a little bit, and they're just kind of, you can see. And then as it progresses, they might growl. And a growling dog is a good dog. A growling dog is a dog that's warning you. They're saying, back off now because I could bite you. Please stop right now. And so if you're not picking up those early warning signs and the dog's telling you over and over again, give me some space, I'm not happy here, then the last thing they can do is resort to an attack. Now, there are some dogs who are not very good at displaying those warning signs, and those dogs are the ones that have problematic behavior and we have to work with them. But there are many situations, I see it with my own kids, where they're kind of trying to hug the dog and I'm saying, whoa, he's really not comfortable, guys. Let's just give him a bit of space. Don't smother a dog. They hate being hugged and smothered and squeezed and cuddled.
And you want to do that with dogs.
You want to do that with them.
They try and dress up the dogs. Like toys
I think,
and stuff.
they cover them in blankets and they're we've tried really hard because we had a few incidents where our kids got nipped by our dogs.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
and my mother was
multiple
bitten by a dog.
times. It was like a rite of passage. We had this blind dog, Lucas, and he, poor little thing, like the kids would just go diving on top of him and they'd get little nips on their ankles and I'd be like, whoa, come on, guys.
See,
this is
having a mother like
exactly.
Lisa,
I know.
like, you're like,
because you do get some people, you know, the ones who are anti-animals. I can never really understand it. I understand, so like you were saying, your mum was bitten by a dog, and so sometimes they have a fear of it, and they'll go, "We'll never have it." I still don't understand why you can't have an animal in the house.
The positive things that they bring children in terms of that calmness and that reduction in anxiety and that empathy and responsibility. It is the best thing you can do for a child is give them a pet.
I have to say on that note, just a quick little side thing. It's when my dad was very sick, just 6 months before he passed away, our dog Harley ended up dying from a paralysis tick up in the Northern Beaches. And we were shocked, we were gutted. The children were only like, 6 and 8. And we were heartbroken. And then 6 months later, my dad died. And so it was the worst thing that ever happened with Harley dying, but it was one of those things we grieved, we cried, we buried him in the garden and we drew pictures from, of him. But so when my dad died, they had experienced a loss. They'd experienced that then you can get over it, like life does get on.
That's quite true.
And so it was like a thing there. It was like that he actually, like the death of Harley, and, we still wish it was around today. It really helped the pathway for when it was their big grieving process of their very big loss, which was their grandfather.
Well, they are part of the family.
So that was sort of a thing with animals. So
it's incredible. They teach you so many
ways.
things. Maggie Dent, the child counsellor, and she's I follow a lot of her things. She, in one of her books, she talks about how important having a pet is in teaching children about grief. Yes. And it's I completely agree. My kids have lost 2 dogs in the last 3 years, and as traumatic as it is, one of our kids has had to have a little bit of therapy about that and to work through that grief. But when you look at it on the other side, the life lessons they've learned about how to grieve and that loss is a part of life are huge things because inevitably you're going to lose people around you as life goes on.
That's
and
it.
Yeah, they teach you the good skills and the bad ones.
True. Well, I remember, I think Paloma, my dog that lives for 19 years, I think because I was splitting up in a marriage, and I think, I know this is going to get emotional, but I think she lived longer because I was grieving. It was traumatic what I was going through. I think she lived that much longer.
Until the losses.
I really do believe that.
They know.
And she was sick she was sick as a dog. She was so, do you love it? She was so sick, but I'm convinced that she lived that much longer just to support me.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I mean, there's more to animals truly that meets the eye. It's an energy.
There's the loss of your mother, a marriage splitting up, which is a big thing, and then the loss of a 19-year-old.
And my car was gone.
That's right.
I had a lovely year.
I know. I said this is a good, and it was COVID or something. Wasn't it? You didn't do anything courageous. So how did you become a celebrity vet? How did you get on? Tell us about that. Was it not just brains and beauty? And so how did that happen?
Yeah, it was purely coincidental. I think they had done the pilot for Bondi Vet, and I knew somebody who worked at the production company that was making Bondi Vet, and he was a friend of my husband's, and he said to me, "Oh, you should come and meet my producers. They're making this show with this vet in Sydney, Chris, and it could be cool to have a female on the show. You should go meet them." So I met them, and then next thing I was doing a screen test for Channel 10, and it was kind of the right place at the right time. Yeah, it was. Wow. So I was living in Melbourne at the time. It was my first year out, and I had done an internship in emergency veterinary care and was working in night shifts at a big hospital. And then when they started filming Bondi Vet was when I had planned to move back to Sydney, and coincidentally they had been in discussions with this hospital called SASH where I work now, but back then I'd already been in conversations with them separately about working at SASH. So then it was like they'd spoken to SASH, I'd spoken to SASH, and my first shift at SASH was my first day filming something with Bondi Vet. It was crazy, and I wasn't expecting it to be that way. They're like, "Cameras on," and I'm like, "Where are the syringes? I don't even know anyone in this
loves you."
And how popular that show.
They're my favourite shows.
Loved it.
I still love it. I love watching all
Yeah.
shows with his animals in it.
For me, the TV side of things is another passion of mine because I love teaching people about pets, and there's such a Maybe it's allowed me to be a vet for 16 years and still love it, because when I do media work, even things like this, it makes me reflect on what I do in the clinical setting, and it makes me reflect on my clients and my patients, and it makes me really appreciate what I do. And I think when you're working as a vet in a clinical setting day in, day out, you can sometimes lose that perspective. So, the media work allows me to step out and look back in. Still love being a vet every time I work.
And the other show you did,
Dr. Lisa to the rescue.
That was fun.
Was it fun?
It was fun, because we went out to a shelter, so it was done at the Animal Welfare League, and it was like matchmaking people with their pets. So it was so wonderful because we're helping rescue pets, and then I'd go into people's homes and we'd kind of settle the animals in and see that journey. And there was one in particular where there was this child who was terrified of dogs, absolutely terrified. And the best way to get over that is to get your child a dog. So this is what this family... It is. And often getting them a young dog or a puppy can kind of help them start nurturing that animal, and then they grow up with that animal. Anyway, this family decided to do this with one of these rescue dogs, and the transformation that I saw before my eyes with this kid going from not even going near a dog to patting the dog. And then when I went back to see this child at the home a few months later, the child was hugging the dog and rolling around with the dog. I mean, it was just incredible.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You were just non-stop. I mean, when Nicola was reading the intro, I'm going, what, there's more?
Businesswoman.
I created this brand, Dog by Dr. Lisa, 3 years ago, which is essentially like a luxury skincare and lifestyle brand for dogs, because I realized, it's natural. It's all products that I think that dog owners would benefit from and dogs would benefit from. And I basically took my clinical experience as a vet and my personal experience as a dog mom and a mom of 4 kids and put that all together to create this brand, which I feel that we filled a gap in the market. And then as part of that, the telehealth service actually falls into our membership program. So our membership program is called Dog Plus. And in that, you can get access to a vet 24/7 via telehealth, and you can get free shipping on all your orders, and you can get a whole bunch of perks like a birthday gift for your dog and early access to sales, that sort of thing. So, the telehealth service is just a part of that, because we get a lot of very dedicated pet owners coming to us with different questions, emailing our customer service line, and now we can give them veterinary support when they need it. And it's also a go-between between us and their GPs and emergency hospitals, because it's not replacing that. So if your dog's in a true emergency, they need to go there. But if you've got a question about, why is my dog's hair changed colour, you can ask that sort of thing. Or if it's an emergency and you're not sure if it's an emergency, you can dial in and say, my dog's doing this, do I need need to get to the vet right now, or can I wait till the morning? So there's often that kind of, a triage service.
No, I remember it was like 11 o'clock at night, and my original dog, Rupert, he was English Pointer, and he had a tick, but he seemed fine. We'd taken the tick out, and one of the legs started going. And if I just had someone I could talk to, I would have felt just calm, knowing I was doing the right thing. So I understand how that will work.
And also it works on the reverse side, so it makes people who otherwise wouldn't have gone to the vet know that, oh my goodness, this actually is a true emergency and I need to go to the vet now, not in 4 days. Like, for example, if your dog ate something that they shouldn't have but they're looking normal, some people might think, oh, well, it looks okay, I'm not going to go to the vet. But if you dial into this telehealth service and you tell them what your dog has done, they'll be able to say to you, get to the vet straight away, this is really serious, or this could save your animal's life if you get it treated today. So, it encourages people to take action.
It's the best service. And is that ever been offered before?
Yeah, it's around. You know, you can, especially through COVID, there were lots of places that were doing telehealth services and it definitely does exist.
Hey, so tell me, what's the routine in your household? Who walks the dog?
What's the routine?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Can you have a routine?
Do you get up at 4 a.m.? No, I'm joking.
I actually am on the other side of
You're
the
doing
clock.
gym at 3 a.m.
I'm a night owl. I go to bed at like 2 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh my
this is
gosh.
crazy. This is...
And you look like
since
that?
I had the 4th kid.
Tell me about it.
No, but
Okay,
then I wake up.
Dog
You
products.
and I, 2 a.m. we go to bed. We set
It's
up.
better. It's my productive time. Everyone's quiet. No one's emailing me.
Wow.
No one's asking me questions. I can just
You
kind of like
time.
have this
Lisa
peaceful time. Yeah, I trade off a couple of hours sleep to have that.
And you wake up
quietness. Well, not that early. Like I'll wake up at
12?
8, 8:30.
3 days later.
In school holidays, 9:30. My kids are good sleep. They're sleeping late. Like if they go to bed late, they wake up late.
7, 8. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
School,
bad.
you have to
Like
get them
6 hours.
up and Vegemite
My
sandwiches
husband's-
cut and all that stuff.
I make my husband do school lunches.
Fair enough.
He
It's
does
give
the
and
morning
take.
shift, and I do all the bedtime. So
Who walks the dog?
So we all take turns, but we actually have also
Is
at
there
the
a
moment.
timetable on the fridge?
No, we live right near a park, so that's
Right,
helpful.
easy.
So they get kind of lots of little trips out to the park, and then one big walk. But there's 2 of them, so they've got a lot of companionship, and they're playing and running wild together. But we also have an amazing nanny because I'm working full time,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I've got
absolutely.
4 kids,
Totally.
10 and under.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
like I
You're only
can't.
sometime as good as the nanny, otherwise the ship.
Yeah, but she loves the dogs too. So between me and my husband
Lucky.
and our nanny, like the dogs are getting walked, which is
And Din Dins?
amazing.
Who does Din?
Our
Depends
nanny
on your-
helps with that.
Oh, we love her.
I know she has
And the
saved
nanny.
my
What's
life.
her
I mean,
name?
her name's Geeta.
Oh, Geeta. We love Geeta.
She's so amazing. But because at the start of COVID, so halfway through 2020, I didn't have a nanny. I just had someone helping me a little bit in the afternoons, and I was juggling these 4 kids, and my younger 2 are 20 months apart. And I'd recovered from a cesarean and then a complication after the cesarean where I had to have a second surgery. And my other dog Nelson had died, and it was COVID, and we'd just launched this business, and
everything
it
at
was
once,
like
isn't it?
everything at once. And my mom said to me, you need like an
Breathe.
au pair, full-time nanny,
Au
because
pair and a
like
bottle of
this
wine.
And
is
you said yes?
well, I was like, no, I don't know, I don't know.
Case, yeah.
And
You
my
see,
my mum
see,
said,
she went, no. Like a lot of women do this.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can cope. I can do
and
this.
I was kind of like just treading water and juggling all these things all at once, and launching your own business. I mean, I was packing the boxes myself on our dining room table
I can relate.
during COVID. I had 4 kids at home. I mean, everyone went through a really hard time during COVID. I'm not saying my time was harder, but
course.
I had a life-threatening complication after the baby was born, and so that was like, it was a big recovery after that surgery. And when my mum said to me, get a nanny and she will live with us. We've got a spare bedroom. She can stay in our house because we didn't have the space. And my mum just saw that I needed that
What a
kind of
wonderful advice
lifeline.
from
It
your
was
mum.
amazing.
And you
like,
finally came around and went,
and I
actually,
said yes.
I do need it.
And then after, like 2 weeks after the nanny started, I broke down, like all these tears from
Wow.
like 6 months before. It was almost a little
Holding
bit
it
of
together.
PTSD. Yeah, I was like holding it together and everything. I finally felt safe when this nanny was there and someone could kind of hold
Trusted
my baby
her.
and trusted her, or someone could kind of cook the kids dinner instead of me just, making plain pasta and cheese that they were having most of the nights. It was just like this.
It really is.
I can do it.
Support, and then they say it takes a village too. So,
really does.
and I think we all have to learn at some stage to go, yes, I'll accept help, because sometimes we're all brought up by the era to, we can do it all. No, we won't accept that. No, don't complain. Whereas now, it's honourable really to say, actually, I do need help.
Absolutely.
I am struggling at the moment.
And it's the old cliche self-love. Hey, I'm not coping.
And then you're a better mum.
Yeah.
Sure.
I need help.
Better vet.
Yeah, because I was, barely spending any time with the kids, and I sometimes feel bad even saying these things, because there are people who can't even afford to have a nanny or that extra help, and I guess your situation is it's what you know.
And you've created it too, because you're working hard and you've strived for what you're doing. And I tell you what, you're really a gift to the animals in the world and the humans
everyone,
in the world.
Whole world, actually.
You really are.
Wherever you look.
You are astounding that way.
Yeah.
You really are. Well, we've got a few signature questions,
Okay.
haven't we? Did you want to shoot, Dodie?
Or
which
one will I start with?
Choose, baby.
I'd love. We might start with the one at the back fence.
Oh,
with
why
the
not?
dogs.
Exactly. I think. She's a good howler this time.
I've just been skiing in Colorado, and there was always coyotes at night.
What did they do?
It was like, and I'm going, oh, it was terrifying. So I'll just do that to her. I don't know why. Girlfriends, right? Okay, if you had a choice of anybody in the world or any animal in the world, really, will we say animal one? I'm just throwing that in.
You're throwing that in.
Why
not?
To meet down at the back fence, who would or what would that be, and why?
Can it be? Well, it would be seeing my beautiful Nelson again.
Oh, yes, it can be.
And we can't talk about it because I'll just cry. No, we can't. But he was my soulmate dog.
I was cried today. Look at you. What is it? That was very beautiful. That was just gorgeous.
I've loved every vet I've ever gone to, but I think they're all getting ditched, and I'm going straight to you now.
I only do emergency work, so you can't.
I
don't want to see your dog.
I don't want to see you either.
That was really beautiful, truly.
Yeah, no, he was so special.
And you just hug a dug.
Do you get the spirit? Because they say spirit animals coming through. Do you ever feel
I
don't know.
I don't know if I feel him around, but I just think about. It's been over 3 years now. I think about him every day.
Oh my God!
How old?
Not a day.
How old with animals?
Just shows the love. How old was Nelson?
He was 13.
Oh.
No, he was 14.
What breed? Sorry,
he was a poodle, a Cavalier cross poodle.
Gorgeous.
He was beautiful. He was like 14 kilos.
Look
He was
at you.
good
I've
size.
got our producer crying. Sam,
When we're all,
goosebumps
I've
all
actually
over
got
my
tears
body.
there too.
She's howling over here.
It's the hardest loss,
Howl,
I think. It really is.
Not that howling.
It's the hardest loss and the biggest love you're ever going to get, isn't it?
100%. And
from
it's
animals?
like, it's so worth it. You go through that really gut-wrenching pain when you lose them. But then you think of all that positive, like that joy. Like on the kids' beds, I've got a little book with photos of Nelson that I made. So they look at him.
Hold hands. Yes.
They find a place. He was like my first baby. He went through vet school with me. He went, all these kind of huge milestones. He was at our wedding, and so when him, and I'm also not even mentioning our other dog Lucas, who he passed away quite suddenly about 6 to 8 months ago. But Lucas was really, really sick, and he just died by himself, which I never ever thought I would experience that, and we rarely experience that. We rarely see that.
So what do you mean by that?
He went out for a walk. He was really unwell, and I felt he'd had severe pancreatitis and a whole bunch of other illnesses. He was 13, which for a little dog, it's not terribly old. But when he was really sick and he'd kind of stopped eating, he'd become really thin, and I felt right in his abdomen. I could feel this mass, probably a tumor on his pancreas, and I was going to take him to work the next day for an ultrasound, and he went outside for a walk.
He just went down
and he
Mother
just
Nature.
I'm gonna do- they do
he
that
just
in the
did
wild.
it,
They
you
just
know.
off they
Yeah, they
go.
do.
And
Yeah.
but it was
Find them. It's quite
instant.
beautiful
No, it
in
was
a way.
like we turned our head
Wow.
one way and a minute later looked the other
You
way
wish
and he was
everyone
gone.
could do that. It's
Of
like
course.
people dying in their sleep. If you could just do
Yeah,
it
and
as easily as
animals
that,
don't
you
do
know.
that.
Yes, yeah, like that. Wow.
Yeah.
So rare that animals do that. You know, I
Wow.
rarely see that.
I grew up with an animal did that.
Yeah.
They just
You know, they kinda
mum
make that
cried. Mum with
decision
8
for
kids
you.
cried for a year, I think.
Yeah.
Now,
But it went
Lisa,
off
I've
and
got to
died.
ask you. It was sort of saying you thought she looked 12. Well, I think she looks a bit older than 20. But if you look, you've had a lot more like candles on the cake now. But what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
I would say travel more
Okay.
and
Ooh.
Yeah.
maybe have your kids a little bit later. You know,
How old were you when you had children?
I was 29.
Right.
I'm just saying, you know,
No, it's
don't wait
good
too long.
observation, yeah.
But like a couple more years
Yes.
I would have been able to do a few more things. Not that I regret that. And my
No.
first child was
Just in
IVF.
hindsight.
So like it was
Wow.
a very conscious
Yes,
choice.
yeah.
And I knew that I'd have to go down that assisted fertility route with him. So I made that leap a little bit before I was truly ready, just trying to be sensible about it. And it was incredible. I was very lucky that it all worked out. But yeah, just having a couple more years up your sleeve to, you know, spend time with your partner if you're doing it with a partner. You know, if you're single and you're having kids single, just, you know, have a bit more you time, travel a bit more, go out for dinner more.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you think that's because of the study? That's
yeah,
like
because
what-
I think if you do a career like I did, like a course like I did,
Yeah.
you give away 5
You do-
to
actually, I
6
remember
years of
you
your life.
saying
They are
that.
gone.
It's true.
And other people who are doing university degrees that are a little bit more laid back, you get more travel and more
It's
things.
true.
In my
It is true.
university holidays,
Yeah.
I used to have to go to the farms and, you know, do our prac work and pregnancy test cows. And I had
Well, it's
friends who
special
were kind of
single time.
backpacking around, and I
Wherever else
had my
it
arm up a
Yeah,
cow's
just
bum.
doing it,
You know.
Wow.
When you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
Big
that's
sacrifice.
interesting. It's interesting hearing that,
It
but
is.
also
I love these
Lisa,
questions.
they just get, and it's great
Yeah.
because also Lisa, you get at the other end of the fence because we're sort of like now the kids have jumped the fence and left, whatever. Got out of there.
They run.
And it's quite funny now we have that
Yeah.
time again,
do.
Yes.
which is great. But it's all different stages of your
beautiful
life, and I
time.
love hearing what you said there. That's
ahead of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Time.
Well, you are amazing. You really are, and thank you so much for coming.
You're incredible.
You
Honestly,
really
you
are.
are.
Yeah,
You're
you're-
a beautiful soul, honestly. And lucky animals, lucky children, lucky husband. And we're so fortunate to have you here today
Animal
in so many
whisperer.
ways. Good
Dr.
luck with all the
Lisa,
adventures.
Good luck with everything
Yeah.
too. I love your products. I really am. Like,
Take care.
yeah.
Well, guys, we look forward to joining us at the back fence next Monday.
Yeah, so tell your friends, rate and review. How many stars do we want, Didi?
25, and even though it only says 4.
I think it says 4 or 5 stars. Because really, I'm just learning, but that's really the only way that community
Spread the
grows and
word.
spread the word.
Yeah,
So share
it's
the
true.
potty to friends and
That's what it's all about.
and thank
to
you for
share it.
listening.
And look forward to chatting with you on Monday. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.